Good morning. We officially have a new feature in HighLevel called estimates. First things first, in order to get to estimates, you're going to head over to your payments tab. And then this first option here, if you hover over invoices and estimates, it's going to be the last option. Now we're going to go ahead and dive into how to create an estimate, what all the settings mean, and then walk you through what it looks like from our perspective and the customer perspective. Starting out, this is your dashboard. So you're always going to come to your dashboard first. You'll be able to see kind of a breakdown of all of your estimates collectively as far as how much you have in the sent status and accepted and declined and then invoiced. You're also able to filter those down here as far as what you have in draft, what you've sent, what's been accepted, what's been declined, and what has been invoiced, as well as filtering by dates and search. We're going to go into the settings first. Then we'll go ahead and walk through how to create the estimate, what it looks like, all those different things. Inside of settings, the first information you're going to see is your business information. This does pull from your account, so it should be correct, but I would go ahead and verify just to ensure that it is matching everything. And then same thing with your email configuration. This is just going to be your from name and your from email. Again, pulling in from the rest of the account, so verify that is correct. And next up is the estimate title and terms. So you are able to add terms and notes inside of your estimates as well as the invoices that follow behind them. One thing to keep in mind here is that if you set up these terms and titles and notes inside of settings, this is going to be estimate wide. So by putting them in here, you're going to see these across every single estimate consistently. You are able to update them inside of the estimate and the invoices, but there's just one thing to note is that if they're in here, they're going to be across the board in every single estimate you create. So here, you can obviously add things. In our invoice, we just have things so much. And then payment settings. So payment settings applies to both kind of your estimates and your invoices. So first option is estimate expires after X days. Again, this is going to apply across the board. You can update this for specific invoices if you have one, let's say that maybe has to go through a number of different channels before it can be approved. Maybe you need to give that 30 days instead of these 14. You can update that in that specific invoice while the remainder of those will default to 14. But this is where you're going to set that. Estimate prefix is just how do you want that to appear when you're generating the preview. The invoice is due after X amount of days. So how many days after you send the invoice and it is accepted is the invoice going to be due? You can toggle on your partial payments, toggle on late fees, and then also allow tip payments as well. You can see partial payments. You can set the minimum percentage. Late fees is defaulting to 1% charged every month after the invoice is due, grace period of 10 days. And then tip, you can go ahead and set here as well. All right, product settings. This is just the option to import the product description when you pull that into your estimates and your invoices. Reminder settings. So there are two different kind of forms of these reminder settings. I lied. Reminder settings are going to be for the person receiving it. Down here, notifications, we can manage what notifications are the HighLevel owner, like ourselves, or our team are receiving. So you can see here, we have reminder one. We just have this set to an email and SMS default. You can do both. Subject line is just, this is exactly how it's set up. I didn't change any of this. So this is set up to every 3 days after the invoice is overdue, maximum of 5 reminders. You can also add reminders to be, you can do before invoice is overdue. So you can start reminding them ahead of time that their invoice is going to be due as well. Custom fields, you can pull your custom fields into your estimates. So that's where you would go ahead and add those options. And then you have your customer and team notifications, just so you know what is going on with the invoice, with the estimate. You can notify your customer when the invoice was received, the estimate was received, the invoice payment was successful or failed, auto payment information, and auto payment failed. And then team, super similar, invoice payment successful, invoice payment failed, auto payment skipped, invoice could not be sent, estimate accepted, estimate declined. So you have those couple other options where you can see that the estimate has been declined or accepted. We'll get into that in a little more detail as we get into creating the actual estimate. So when we're ready, We have all our settings ready to go. You can click here to go ahead and generate a new estimate. And this is the screen you're going to be brought to. So you can see it pulled in our logo, all of our information here as well. It's going to have you start by adding your customer. I'm just going to go ahead and add myself, and you'll see it'll pull in my name. It'll pull in my email address exactly as I had put it in when I was added to our contact list. All right, estimate number 4, you can always update these manually in here. It's just going to default to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and keep going. The issue date, so we'll go ahead and keep that, but you can go ahead and update that, and then expiry date. So I have it set to 14 days by default in the settings. That's why this expiry date is October 15th. Now here's where you're going to add your products. So your products do have to be listed inside of your payments and then products area for them to appear here. And you'll see we can go ahead and pick an item here. Let's say we want to add a discount. You can do it via percentage. You can also do it by custom amount as well. So you can see if I add that discount, we can also add tax. Our amount due here would be $1,600. And then you have the option to add the terms and conditions. Again, I didn't have those set, so there's nothing that's going to be in here, but I can go ahead and type something in if I wanted to add that. And then this is what the estimate would look like here. Now, something that's super important, this is a one-time fee product, but if you do have an item that is a recurring, so for example, this one is set to $2,000 monthly for a total of 3 months. So what you can do here, you can see we have this custom project, Then you get the option to set the frequency for the recurring invoice. So if I were to do this, let's say it would be monthly. You can select date, first, second, third, fourth, last. Let's do on the 6th of every 1 month. And then you would go ahead and select the start date. And then you can end never. If it's something like a subscription, a membership, you can select it that it has to be ended by, let's say, October 2nd of 2027, for example. This will be really good, especially if you're offering that pay what you can or pay what you want type of deal, where or even, sorry, not that option, the partial payment option. So if you're giving your customer the option to do partial payments, what you can do is say, hey, we have a total, let's say it's $7,500. We want this to be paid off by this date. And then you can allow those partial payments and they can basically just keep chipping in towards their total balance. The other option is after, and so for this one, because it's $2,000 a month for 3 months, we want this to start on October 6th, but end after 3 occurrences of this $2,000 payment being processed on the monthly basis. So that's how you would set that up. I'm going to go ahead and rename it up here. Whoops. Okay, tester estimate. And then you can see this notes area. There's not going to be anything there yet, but I can show you. Day of the month was to be one of the following values. This gave me this issue yesterday. So let me figure this out 1 second. Okay, well, this is giving me an issue. So here's what we're going to do. Instead of that recurring, I still want to show you this. We're going to go ahead and just pick a one-time fee offer so that we can view how this is going to go. Okay, so once that's done, you get to the screen. You can see the issue date, expiry date, estimate number, item name, price, subtotal, amount due, and then terms over here. This is what it's going to look like for your customer. Over here, you can just kind of verify all your settings, but they appear to be good to go. So we can now save, and then we're going to go ahead and, well, it's saving for a send. So you can either deliver this via email and text, email only or text only. You can see I obviously don't have a mobile number in here. We'll deliver this via email only, and I'm going to toggle it over to test mode. So that if you want to go ahead and test it out, make sure it's going to work, you just open these additional options and then go ahead and update that. All right, you can also CC or BCC people. So we'll go ahead and send this off. And then you can see here, this is now in the sent status. So if I come here and see, all right, there is sent. And if I refresh, someday it'll pop up. Okay, it should have updated here, but it didn't. That's okay. Let's go ahead and look to see how this actually looks for the customer side. Okay, so in my email box, you can see I have this email that says the funnel flippers estimate received. Estimate for Kylie, sent you an estimate for $17.50 that expires on October 5th. You can view here or you can view here. And when you do, this is kind of what it's going to look like. So you can review, you can also add kind of more information here. I don't have this product description set up, to be honest. So that's why it's not pulling that in. But you can either reject or accept the estimate. So if I go ahead and, well, my mouse is taking a moment. I don't want to accept. Okay, let's go ahead and actually reject this at first. I need more information on the timeline. So we'll go ahead and submit that. And this is kind of cool what happens next. So it came up as declined. You have successfully declined the estimate. And then I will actually get a notification as well. Okay, coming back in, you can see we have the tester estimate here. And it is officially marked as declined. So now what we can do is open this. And it says Kylie Robinson added a new note. I need more information on the timeline. So now we have that direct line of communication. We can see exactly why they declined the estimate. And then we can go ahead and actually edit this. Let's say additional options, timeline. Let's say timeline 60 days to project completion with milestone reviews every 12 days. Okay, let's just say that. That looks good. Okay. Oops, I guess I should have unmarked as declined. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to unmark this as declined. We can go ahead and mark that edit. We'll save. And then we can resend. Again, we're going to send it via email. Go ahead and send that off. And now again, it's marked as sent. Okay, here we have the estimate again. This time we're going to go ahead and select accept. And then we'll hit submit. We're good to go. It says you have successfully accepted the estimate, marked as accepted, and I can also download that as a PDF, so I have it for my records as a customer. And then once that's done, we will receive notification that the estimate has been accepted. So you can see here, it says, hey, Samantha, Kylie Robinson has accepted your estimate, issued on this, system generated email. You can click here to view it. But my favorite part of this is that now that this has been accepted, let's go ahead and reload. All right, it's accepted. You can see the status right here. Okay, from here, I can actually head over to invoices. I lied. We're actually going to click here. You can either open the editor or you can go ahead and create the invoice and hit confirm. Okay, and then you'll get a preview of this invoice. It looks absolutely perfect. So we're going to go ahead and send that out. Again, you're going to have those same options where you can email, you can text, and then we'll send off that invoice. Okay, and you can see right here that there is the invoice already in my invoices tab. 1 second. Okay, and then as a customer, you can see we went ahead and received this invoice for Kylie. Hi, here's an invoice that's due October 2nd. View the invoice. And then you can go ahead and pay. It's in test mode, so we'll go ahead and run through this. 09, 25, and then pay. Beautiful. Paid, completed on this date at this time. And then they can also click here, download their PDF. And that's how we're going to use estimates as well as the automatic invoicing.